This is the Forgotten Inspector, report number 156, the jury that never forgets. On September 3rd, at exactly 3:14 a.m., 12 people across the city collapsed. Different neighborhoods, different lives. A nurse finishing her shift, a taxi driver at a red light, a student in a basement apartment, an accountant who couldn't sleep. 12 strangers who'd never met. All of them fell at the same second. When the paramedics arrived, they found the victims conscious but unresponsive, eyes open, pupils dilated, lips moving silently as if reciting something they couldn't stop saying. By dawn, all 12 were in separate hospitals. By noon, all 12 had checked themselves out. And by 6 p.m., all 12 had called the same police tip line. They all said the same thing. I saw Thomas Hendricks die. They gave me the case because nobody else wanted it. Mass hysteria, they said, shared delusion, some kind of online cult or contaminated drug making the rounds. The department was stretched thin, and this looked like psychiatric overflow. But there was one problem. Thomas Hendricks was real, and he had been murdered exactly the way all 12 described. His body was found 3 hours after the collapses in an industrial park on the east side. Single gunshot wound to the chest. No witnesses, no cameras, no forensic leads, except for 12 people who weren't there. 12 people who could describe the killer's face, the smell of motor oil and rust, the sound of his voice, the cold concrete under Thomas's back as he bled out. They knew things only the victim could have known, because they hadn't just seen Thomas Hendricks die. They had died as him. I met the first witness in a diner off Highway 12. Her name was Angela Rivas, 34, worked in medical billing, hands shaking so badly she couldn't hold a coffee cup. I didn't see it like a bystander, she said. I was him. I felt a bullet. I felt my lung collapse. I tasted blood in my mouth, his blood. I heard my heartbeat slow and then stop. She hadn't slept in 4 days. It's getting worse, she whispered. At first it was like a memory. Now it's like I'm there. I can smell it, the rust, the oil, and the pain. It's not fading. It's sharpening. I asked her what she remembered about a killer. She closed her eyes. Tall, maybe 6'2", white male, mid-40s, scar through his left eyebrow. He wore a gray jacket. He said, her voice cracked. He said, "You should have kept quiet, Tommy." The details matched. All 12 witnesses gave identical statements. Same killer, same location, same final words. But none of them had been within 10 miles of that industrial park. I checked their alibis, airtight. Security footage, phone records, witnesses. They were all exactly where they said they were when Thomas died. So how did they remember his death? I interviewed all 12 over the next 72 hours. A truck driver named Samuels, a retired teacher named Chow, a barista, a plumber, a grad student, a bartender. Different ages, different lives, no connections, but they all had the same look in their eyes, haunted, hollow, like they were watching something the rest of us couldn't see. I can't make it stop, the bartender told me. I close my eyes and I'm back on that concrete. I feel the cold, the pain. It's like my brain is stuck in his last 30 seconds on a loop. The nurse, Angela, called me on the 4th day. It's not just the visuals anymore, she said. I feel it. The bullet tearing through me, my ribs cracking. I wake up gasping because I forget I'm not dying. Her voice dropped to a whisper. What if we are? I brought the case to the department. They dismissed it. Trauma contagion, they said. Folie à douze. Some mass psychological episode triggered by media coverage. But there hadn't been any media coverage. Thomas Hendricks' murder wasn't public yet. We'd kept it contained. So how did 12 people across the city experience the exact same false memory of a death that actually happened? I went back to the evidence, the body, the scene, the timeline. Thomas Hendricks, age 41, freelance investigator, last seen leaving a bar in the Riverside District at 2:48 a.m. Time of death, 3:14 a.m. The exact moment 12 strangers collapsed. I stood in that industrial park at 3 a.m. trying to understand. The air smelled like rust and oil, just like they'd said. The concrete was stained dark where Thomas had bled out. I closed my eyes, and for just a second, I felt it, cold, sharp. A pressure in my chest like something puncturing through. I opened my eyes, gasping. The parking lot was empty, but I could still feel the echo of it, like a memory that wasn't mine. On September 9th, one of the 12 died. Samuels, the truck driver, he walked into traffic on the I-90 overpass. Witnesses said he was screaming, clawing at his chest, saying he couldn't breathe. He died on impact. And at the exact moment of his death, 3:14 a.m., 6 days after the first collapse, I woke up in my apartment, gasping, choking. I could taste blood. I was on the concrete again. The cold seeping into my spine, my chest burning, wet, collapsing inward. I heard the killer's voice, "You should have kept quiet, Tommy." And then I felt it from a second angle, not just Thomas's perspective, Samuel's perspective too. Watching Thomas die from a few feet to the left, a slightly different vantage point, same moment, same death, two memories, overlapping. I sat up, shaking, my heart hammering. I grabbed my phone and called Angela. "Did you feel that?" I asked. Her voice was ragged. "Samuels is dead." "I know." "His memory," she was crying. "It transferred. I have both now. I'm seeing it twice, two angles, like I'm in two places at once." I felt my blood go cold. "Angela, listen to me. How many of you are left?" 11, she whispered. "Stay inside. Lock your doors. Don't go anywhere alone." "Why?" I didn't answer. Because I was starting to understand. I went back through the files. 12 witnesses, 12 perspectives, 12 jurors. In old folklore, 12 was the number of judgment, 12 apostles, 12 peers, 12 to witness and decide. But what if this wasn't random? What if Thomas Hendricks' death had chosen them? Not as witnesses, as a jury. And if the jury died before they could testify? I pulled up Samuel's file. He'd been trying to report the murder, trying to get the sketch artist to render the killer's face. But the department had stonewalled him, wrote him off as delusional. So he walked into traffic, or someone made it look that way. I checked the others. 2 more had been in accidents, near misses. 1 mugging, 1 house fire. Someone was hunting them. And if all 12 died before the case went to trial, what would happen to the memory? Would it disappear? Would Thomas Hendricks' murder be erased? I called them all in, brought them to a safe house on the north side, put them under protection. 11 left. They sat around a long table, staring at each other with the same haunted eyes. "You're in danger," I told them. "Someone is killing you to erase the evidence." Angela looked at me. "We're not evidence. We're witnesses. We can't forget. We can't unsee it." "I know." "Then why is this happening to us?" I hesitated. "Because you're the jury," I said quietly. "You were chosen, 12 of you, to witness, to remember, to testify." Chosen by what? I didn't have an answer. They started dying faster. Chow, the teacher, heart attack. The grad student, carbon monoxide, the plumber fall from a ladder. Every time one of them died, I felt it. The memory transferred, not just to the other jurors, to me. By the time there were 8 left, I was experiencing Thomas Hendricks' death from 5 perspectives simultaneously. 5 angles, 5 sets of eyes, 5 overlapping sensations of cold concrete, burning lung, blood pooling in the throat. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every time I closed my eyes, I was dying, again and again and again. I realized the truth on September 14th. I wasn't investigating the case. I was part of it. I pulled my own file. On September 3rd, at 3:14 a.m., I had been at my desk. I'd felt dizzy, nauseous, sat down hard in my chair. I thought it was exhaustion. But I'd collapsed too, just for a moment, just long enough. I was the 13th, the backup juror. If any of the 12 died, their memories transferred to me. And if all 12 died, I would be the only one left, the sole witness, the jury of one, forever. The killer found the safe house on September 16th. I don't know how, but when I arrived, 3 more were dead, execution style, single gunshots, the same way Thomas had died. The survivors were gone, scattered. I tried to find them, but one by one, they vanished. Car accidents, drownings, overdoses, and each time I became them. I felt their deaths, and I inherited their perspective of Thomas's death. By September 20th, I was carrying 9 memories, 9 angles of the same 30 seconds. I couldn't think, couldn't function. I was trapped in a loop of dying over and over from every possible vantage point. On September 22nd, I found the last one, Angela. She was in a motel room on the edge of the city, barricaded inside. "They're all dead," she said. "Aren't they?" I nodded. She looked at me, really looked. "You have them, all of them. I can see it in your eyes." "I do? How many?" 11, I whispered. She smiled, sad, broken. "Then I'm the last." "Angela, if I die, you'll have all 12. "You're not going to die." She shook her head. "I'm already dead, Vane. I've been dead since 3:14 a.m. on September 3rd. We all have. We've been dying every second since." She stood, walked to the window, and before I could stop her, she stepped through. I felt her hit the pavement, felt her skull crack, felt her last breath rattle out. And then I was Thomas Hendricks, not from one angle, from 12 perspectives, 12 pairs of eyes, 12 overlapping sensations of cold, pain, blood, fear. I saw the killer from every angle. I heard his voice from 12 directions. I felt the bullet enter from 12 slightly different trajectories. I died 12 times in the same instant, and I couldn't stop. The loop played again and again and again. They found me 3 days later. I was sitting in an empty courthouse in the jury box, 12 seats around me, all empty. I didn't respond when they called my name. I couldn't. I was still there, still on that concrete, still dying. The case went cold. Thomas Hendricks' murder was never solved. The killer's face, etched into my mind from 12 angles, didn't match any database. The sketch artists tried, but I couldn't describe him. Not because I didn't remember, because I remembered too much. 12 perspectives, 12 faces, 12 versions of the same moment, overlapping and distorting until I couldn't tell which angle was real. They retired me. Medical leave, they called it. But I know the truth. I'm still on the jury, and the trial never ends. I sit in my apartment now. The clock reads 3:14 a.m. It's always 3:14 a.m. I close my eyes, And I'm there again. Cold concrete, rust and oil. The pressure in my chest. The killer's voice. You should have kept quiet, Tommy. I see him from 12 angles. I feel the bullet from 12 trajectories. I die 12 deaths. And then it starts again. They say a jury is supposed to deliver a verdict. But what do you do when the jury can't forget? When the jury can't sleep? When the jury is the victim? I am the 13th witness, the jury of one, and I will remember Thomas Hendrick's death forever, from every angle, in every moment, until the day I die. But here's the thing they don't tell you about being the last juror. You can't die. Not while the case remains open, not while the memory needs a vessel. So I sit, and I wait, and I watch the clock. 3:14 a.m. every second, forever. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder, what happens when someone else collapses? What happens when 12 new strangers wake up with a memory that isn't theirs? What happens when they start dying? And what happens when they realize I'm still here, still watching, still counting, waiting for the 14th perspective, the 15th, the 100th? Because the city doesn't just choose 12 witnesses, it chooses as many as it needs, until someone remembers, until someone testifies. And if you wake up one morning with a memory of a death you didn't see, don't try to forget. Don't try to run. The jury is always watching, and it never, ever forgets. End of report. Number 156. Inspector Elias Vane. Last entry, September 25th, 3:14 a.m. The courtroom is still empty, but I can hear them coming. 12 more footsteps, 12 more perspectives. The trial has only just begun. They say justice is blind, but the jury sees everything from every angle forever.
Another file closed, or maybe just buried. If you want to see what else they tried to hide, stay close. The next case opens soon,